This is Jonathan Cahn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. When you look at what's happening in the world, it's easy to wonder what's going on, and are things out of control? Is this what the Bible foretold? Is the end near? What do I need to know about the future? Where's it all going? How can I be prepared? What is God's prophetic word for the hour and for me? On this channel, you're going to find prophetic updates, the mysteries of God, daily words for life, biblical revelation, prophetic teachings, and much more. I pray it's going to be a great blessing to you in the days ahead. So be sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time there's a new video that's posted. Leave a comment as to how God is blessing you. And don't forget to share these videos with friends who need to hear them. Thanks again, and God bless you. Shalom. July 30th, 2025 is not just another date on the calendar. It marks a threshold, one that separates the unaware from the awakened, the passive observer from the active participant in a world undergoing rapid and irreversible transformation. This date carries weight, not because of superstition or fear, but because the convergence of global spiritual and technological events is reaching a critical mass. Those who have been paying attention to patterns, natural, political, cosmic, can sense it. Time is accelerating, systems are collapsing, and energies are shifting. July 30 is a symbolic and literal deadline for action. What comes after depends entirely on what the chosen ones do before it. For months, even years, signals have been broadcast in plain sight through nature's unrest, global polarization, and widespread awakening experiences. Ancient cultures spoke of this period as the moment when truth would be revealed and veils would be lifted. The Mayans, Hopi, and other spiritual lineages pointed toward an era of deep awakening following cycles of destruction and rebirth. In more modern terms, many have experienced a pull toward deeper knowledge, as if something within them is preparing for a profound shift. This pull intensifies as we approach July 30, because that is when the window begins to close. The spiritual realm, universal intelligence, or divine guidance, however one describes it, has aligned this point in time as a final checkpoint before a phase shift. What happens on or after July 30 is not necessarily a cataclysmic event, but a silent crossing over, a moment where timelines diverge. Those who are not aware of this may continue in a loop of confusion, distraction, and fear. But those who are attuned, the chosen ones, must understand this date as a spiritual deadline, an internal call to readiness. By then, certain energies will have solidified, choices made leading up to that date about how we treat others, where we place our energy, how we align with truth, will determine which path we walk going forward. It is not about judgment, it is about resonance. Energy attracts energy, and by July 30, the vibrational field of the earth will no longer be as open as it is now. Preparations must be completed before that closure. The urgency comes from the narrowing of the gap between awareness and consequence. Up until now, people have had time to wake up slowly, explore ideas, try different paths. That time is running out. As world events accelerate, be it environmental crises, economic uncertainty, or technological overreach, individuals will be forced to choose, wake up or get swept away. This date signifies the end of the grace period. It is the moment when the soul's readiness meets reality. Many have already received dreams, synchronicities, and intuitive nudges pointing to something coming. July 30 simply gives shape and form to what the heart has already known. There is also a metaphysical component to the timing. On and around that date, astronomical alignments and energetic gateways open or close in ways that affect human consciousness. Whether through solar flares, Schumann resonance spikes, or shifts in planetary positioning, sensitive individuals will feel something different in the air. That energy will amplify whatever is already present in one's soul. If someone is living in fear, they will feel more fear. If they are aligned with purpose and love, that will surge. This magnification makes it harder to change course after the threshold is crossed. It's not that growth is impossible. It's that the ease and flow of alignment will no longer be available in the same way. For the chosen ones, this is not about fear or paranoia. It is a sacred responsibility. You were chosen not because you are better, but because you were built for this. Your soul knew this moment was coming and volunteered to be awake when others could not be. Your intuition, your dreams, your relentless seeking, all of it has been leading you to now. The urgency is not to panic, but to prepare, to finish what you've started spiritually, to cleanse what needs cleansing, to forgive what still lingers in your heart, to align your actions with your highest knowing, not because someone told you to, but because deep inside, you already know it's time. Those who delay past July 30 will find it harder to hear their inner voice through the noise. Distractions will increase. Deception will become more subtle. The fog will thicken. That's why this message is being delivered now, to give you time, not to scare you. There is still a window open, but it's closing quickly. You must choose what you will carry through it. The world is changing, and whether you lead, follow, or fall behind will depend on how seriously you take this final warning. The term chosen ones is not about ego, superiority, or separation. It is a recognition of a soul-level contract, a deep inner knowing that you were placed here at this exact moment in history for a purpose larger than survival or routine. The chosen ones are not selected by a government, a religion, or any external authority. They are self-recognized through awakening. They are the ones who feel that something has always been different about them, even if they couldn't quite explain it. They've questioned what others accepted, resisted what felt false, and sought truth even when it was inconvenient or painful. They carry a sense of mission, not imposed from the outside, but burning from within. To be a chosen one is to feel the weight of awareness. It is to see through illusions when most still believe them. It is to feel the suffering of others as your own. It is to experience moments of clarity that pierce through the noise of daily life, revealing that something is deeply wrong with the world, and something even deeper is calling to be made right. Many chosen ones are empaths, healers, visionaries, and rebels. Some are quiet observers, some are loud disruptors, and others operate in the in-between, guiding silently while holding powerful energies in place. Regardless of personality or path, what unites them is the undeniable call to remember and fulfill their reason for incarnating during this time. Being chosen doesn't mean life has been easy. In fact, for most it has been anything but. The path of the chosen one is often marked by hardship, isolation, and deep internal struggle. This is not punishment, it's preparation. These individuals were never meant to fully fit into a broken system because their purpose is to help transform it. Their sensitivity is their strength. Their wounds, once integrated, become their wisdom. Many have walked through the fire of trauma, loss, or spiritual crisis, not because they were weak, but because they were being tempered like steel. Now, as global systems unravel and collective confusion rises, the chosen ones are being activated. The time for hiding is over. The time for remembering is now. There are signs, sometimes subtle, sometimes loud, that someone is among the chosen. They may find themselves waking up at 3:33 or 4:44 with a strange urgency they can't explain. They might notice repeating numbers, prophetic dreams, or a sudden surge of inspiration toward spiritual, humanitarian, or creative pursuits. They might feel out of place in social environments that once felt normal, increasingly sensitive to energies, lies, and manipulations. Some feel an overwhelming desire to break free from toxic habits, relationships, or careers. These are not random experiences. They are the symptoms of soul awakening. The chosen ones are being prepared to guide others, anchor light, and protect truth in a time when deception is thick. This call is not based on religious dogma, trend, or political ideology. It transcends all of that. The chosen ones are found in every culture, every corner of the earth. They may not know each other by name, but they recognize each other by vibration. Their paths may differ, but their essence is the same. They hold within them a frequency that uplifts others. Sometimes this happens through words, sometimes through presence alone. They destabilize lies just by existing. They disrupt old patterns simply by refusing to conform. Often they've felt like outcasts, but that was never a flaw. It was an indication that they were never meant to be molded by this world, but to reshape it. Some chosen ones have known their purpose since childhood, while others are only now beginning to awaken. Both are valid. The timing is different for each, but the mission is shared: to raise consciousness, to hold the frequency of love in the face of fear, to be truth-tellers when silence is the easier path. This doesn't always mean speaking on stages or leading large movements. Sometimes it means healing your own lineage. Sometimes it means holding space for one person at the right time. Sometimes it means quietly choosing love in a moment when the world expects you to hate. The chosen ones are not above others. They are responsible to others. They serve not from pride but from deep inner alignment. This message is not meant to convince anyone. Those who are meant to hear it will feel it in their bones. They won't need proof or permission. They will remember, and once they remember, the next step becomes clear. Prepare, align, activate. There is no more time to play small or pretend to be asleep. The energy of this time is calling them forward, urging them to stand fully in who they are. Whether they are seen or unseen, loud or quiet, known or unknown, their presence is needed. Not tomorrow, now. There are truths hidden in plain sight that most people are not meant to see, at least not yet. These truths are not just facts withheld from public knowledge, but deeper layers of reality deliberately kept from collective awareness. The chosen ones, however, are not most people. They are the ones who have always felt that something about the world doesn't add up. They sense the deception in the media, the artificiality in societal systems, and the emptiness in material pursuits. What they are beginning to uncover are the mechanisms of control that shape the reality experienced by the masses, mechanisms designed to keep people distracted, divided, and spiritually numb.
This is the knowledge the world's gatekeepers don't want the chosen ones to fully realize, because once enough of them awaken to it, the systems begin to collapse. The suppression of truth is not new. For thousands of years, empires, religious institutions, and governments have rewritten history, hidden sacred texts, erased ancient wisdom, and silenced those who questioned the official narrative. But this time is different. The internet, energy shifts, and mass awakenings have made it harder to keep the veil in place. Still, manipulation has evolved. It no longer relies only on force, but on consent manufactured through media, education, entertainment, and fear. People are taught what to think, not how to think. They are flooded with information but starved for truth. The chosen ones are those who break through this matrix, not because they are more intelligent, but because their soul refuses to be programmed. The truths that are hidden span many areas: spiritual, political, environmental, and metaphysical. One of the core truths concealed is the nature of human consciousness. People have been led to believe they are limited beings dependent on systems for survival and validation. In reality, humans are powerful creators, capable of healing, intuition, energetic influence, and multidimensional awareness. The chosen ones are awakening to the fact that consciousness shapes reality, not the other way around. The controllers know this, and so they bombard humanity with low-frequency content designed to induce fear, apathy, and confusion. The more a person is in survival mode, the less likely they are to question the story they've been told. Another suppressed truth is the spiritual nature of this world. While mainstream narratives push materialism and atheism or distort spiritual teachings for control, the real battle taking place is energetic. There are forces that feed on fear, chaos, and division. These forces are not always visible, but their influence can be seen everywhere, in rising mental illness, broken communities, and growing disconnection from nature and self. The chosen ones begin to see that this battle is not just political or economic, but a war on awareness itself. They start to piece together how trauma is used to keep people fragmented, and how mass events are orchestrated to keep the collective frequency low. There is also truth hidden in the nature of history. Much of what is taught in schools is a partial or manipulated version of events. Ancient civilizations had knowledge of energy, healing, and interdimensional communication that has been buried or dismissed as myth. Technologies that could revolutionize life on Earth have been suppressed in favor of profit and control. Systems of governance are presented as protective, when they often serve the opposite function. The chosen ones begin to question the root of every structure. Who benefits from this? Who suffers? What would the world look like if this system didn't exist? Exposing these truths is dangerous to those who depend on lies. That's why truth-tellers are often ridiculed, silenced, or erased from public memory. But that risk must be taken. For the chosen ones, the need to live in truth outweighs the desire to be accepted. As they awaken, they become transmitters of hidden knowledge, not by forcing it on others, but by embodying it. Their vibration begins to affect those around them. They become mirrors, showing others what's possible when one unplugs from illusion. The system cannot hold when too many stop believing in it. This is why the awakening of the chosen ones is so feared and so fought against. The deeper truth is that the chosen ones are not victims of this deception. They are antidotes to it. They are the immune response of the collective soul, sent to cleanse, rebuild, and reimagine. But in order to do this, they must first see clearly. They must recognize how their minds have been shaped, how their emotions have been harvested, and how their attention has been weaponized. Once they do, they reclaim their power, and once that happens, the truth that has been buried begins to surface in all places. It starts with one person choosing clarity over comfort, freedom over fitting in, and truth over illusion. That one becomes 2, then 10, then thousands, and from there, the system of control begins to fall apart from the inside out. The real battle happening in the world is not between nations, ideologies, or political parties. It's a battle of consciousness. At its core, it is a war between awakening and control, between freedom and manipulation, between light and the forces that seek to keep it dimmed. This conflict is not always visible on the surface, but it affects everything: our thoughts, emotions, choices, and even the quality of our lives. The chosen ones are at the center of this battle, not because they are soldiers in the traditional sense, but because they are energetic disruptors of the systems that feed on ignorance and fear. Their role is not to fight with weapons or rhetoric, but to embody and anchor a higher state of awareness in a world that has been programmed to sleep. Consciousness is power. The more awake a person becomes, the harder it is to control them. When someone is aware of who they are, what they're capable of, and how the world operates behind the scenes, they stop feeding the structures that depend on their energy. This is why so much effort is made to keep people distracted, anxious, and disconnected from themselves, from each other, and from their source. Modern life is filled with mechanisms of control, disguised as convenience, entertainment, or safety. Everything from social media, to pharmaceuticals, to institutionalized education, plays a role in shaping perception, limiting critical thought, and dulling inner knowing. The real battlefield is the human mind and heart. Win those, and you win the world. The chosen ones are those who are able to see beyond these illusions. They recognize that much of what society deems normal is in fact designed to suppress authentic expression and spiritual growth. They notice how negativity is rewarded, how truth is censored, and how systems of power operate through fear. This awareness is not easy. In fact, it often brings pain, isolation, and confusion at first. But over time it becomes clarity. The chosen ones understand that waking up means letting go of the need for approval from a world built on lies. It means stepping into personal sovereignty and choosing love and truth, even when fear is the easier path. Control operates most effectively when people do not realize they are being controlled. It creates loops, mental, emotional, and spiritual, that trap individuals in cycles of scarcity, comparison, judgment, and self-doubt. These loops keep people focused outward, constantly seeking validation or distraction, and never looking within. Consciousness, on the other hand, invites inward movement. It pushes the individual to examine beliefs, question reality, and remember their power. Once someone begins to awaken, control starts to lose its grip. The chosen ones, by their very nature, weaken these systems just by being who they truly are. Their energy begins to vibrate at a frequency that is incompatible with manipulation. It requires effort, discipline, and courage. The forces that seek to suppress consciousness are relentless and intelligent. They adapt. They use fear-based narratives to keep people divided. They use shame and ridicule to silence those who speak out. They manipulate emotions to create false enemies. This is not accidental. It is intentional, because the greatest threat to the control system is a population that thinks for itself, feels deeply, and acts from inner truth. The chosen ones must remain vigilant. They must protect their minds from programming, their hearts from numbness, and their spirits from despair. They are here not just to survive this time, but to elevate it. Part of the responsibility of being awake is recognizing when others are still asleep, not with judgment, but with compassion. The chosen ones were once asleep too. They understand the confusion, the fear, the resistance that comes when foundational beliefs are challenged. That's why they are not meant to force awakening on others, but to live in a way that makes truth undeniable. When someone sees a person living in peace despite chaos, speaking truth despite opposition, loving deeply despite betrayal, they begin to question the narrative they've been sold. That spark of questioning is the beginning of consciousness. That is the true weapon in this war, not force, but frequency. This battle is not fought with violence or anger. It is fought through presence, awareness, and alignment. Every time a chosen one chooses truth over comfort, love over fear, integrity over conformity, they are winning ground in this invisible war. Each act of courage, healing, forgiveness, and self-awareness creates a ripple in the collective field. The system of control cannot survive in a fully conscious world. That's why it fights so hard to keep people in the dark. But light always finds a way in, and once it does, nothing can remain hidden forever.
There is a reason the urgency around this message grows stronger each day. It's not enough to simply know the truth or feel the call. The chosen ones must begin to activate their roles in this unfolding moment before the vibrational shift reaches a point of no return. The time for passive observation is over. The world is changing rapidly, and those who were born with a mission must now step into it. The days leading up to July 30, 2025 are not ordinary. They are a sacred window, a preparatory phase where energy, intention, and action must align. By that date, a great divide in consciousness will become more permanent. Those who have not anchored their purpose may find it much harder to navigate what comes next. The choices made before then, conscious or unconscious, will shape one's path for years, possibly lifetimes to come. Activation does not mean perfection or public visibility. It means remembering who you are and living in alignment with that truth. It means turning inward and listening to what your intuition has been whispering all along. Each chosen one has a unique path, but the thread that connects them all is service to the collective awakening. For some, this might look like becoming a healer or teacher. For others, it could mean leaving a toxic system or relationship that has kept them small. It might be as subtle as changing the way you speak to yourself, or as bold as starting a movement. The form is not the point. The commitment is. You must decide now that you will no longer delay, no longer shrink, and no longer pretend you are not needed. The universe does not wait forever. While free will is always honored, there are windows of opportunity where energies are more supportive of transformation. July 30 is one such window. After that, certain timelines may become less accessible. This is not punishment, it's momentum. The longer you wait to activate your mission, the harder it becomes to hear the guidance that once came so clearly. Distractions increase, self-doubt multiplies, and the noise of the world begins to drown out the signal of the soul. That is why action is required now, even if it's small. A conversation, a commitment, a boundary, a prayer, all of it adds up. The most dangerous illusion is that you have more time. You do not. The energies are already moving, and you must move with them. Activation also means cleansing. You cannot carry old wounds, outdated beliefs, or unresolved guilt into the next phase. These must be released. The chosen ones are being asked to purify not just their actions, but their inner world. Shadow work, emotional healing, and self-inquiry are no longer optional. They are prerequisites. The cleaner your vessel, the more powerfully you can serve. Every grudge, every judgment, every unresolved fear is a weight you cannot afford to carry. The mission ahead requires clarity, integrity, and lightness of being. You are not expected to be flawless, but you are expected to be real with yourself and with others. Masks must come off. Denial must end. Truth must be spoken. Not later, now. Part of your activation also involves connecting with others. The chosen ones were never meant to do this alone. Many have walked solitary paths, feeling isolated, misunderstood, or even cursed. That isolation served a purpose. It trained resilience and refined intuition. But now is the time to gather. The mission ahead is collective. You must begin to find your soul family, your allies, your collaborators. These connections may come quickly once you commit to your path. Be open. Pay attention to synchronicities. Trust the inner yes and say no to what drains your light. The right people will not require you to dim. They will recognize you, and in that recognition, power will multiply. Above all, activation is about courage. The world you were born into is not built to support truth. It rewards conformity and punishes disruption. But you are here to disrupt, to dismantle illusions, and rebuild on a foundation of clarity and love. This will require risk. You may lose comfort, relationships, or social approval. But what you gain will far outweigh the cost. Sovereignty, purpose, peace, and alignment with your soul's deepest knowing. If you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. If you've been waiting for perfect conditions, they will never come. You must act now, not because someone told you to, but because your soul remembers what it came here to do. If you are hearing or reading this message, it is not an accident. You did not stumble upon it randomly, and it did not find you by chance. There is a reason it resonates deeply, stirring something inside you that you may not be able to fully explain. That stirring is recognition. It is the part of you that has always known there was more, that you were meant for something greater than routine existence, that your presence in this moment here, now, is deliberate and necessary. The chosen ones are not defined by title, status, or appearance. They are defined by their resonance, their awareness, and their ability to sense a greater calling, even when everything around them says to stay asleep. This message is not a broadcast to the masses. It is a direct transmission to those who are always meant to remember. Many chosen ones have lived much of their lives feeling out of place, misunderstood, or even broken. They've questioned their worth, struggled with identity, and often battled depression or anxiety, not because something is wrong with them, but because they've been absorbing the dissonance of a world misaligned with truth. The pain they've carried was never proof of weakness. It was evidence of their sensitivity, their depth, and their connection to a higher awareness that most have forgotten. That suffering has shaped them, not to destroy them, but to prepare them. Now that preparation is reaching its final stage. The call is being issued clearly and unmistakably. Awaken fully, align completely, and rise unapologetically into who you were always meant to be. This message reaches you at a crucial time. The energy of the world is shifting, and with that shift comes a separation between timelines, one governed by fear, control, and illusion, and another aligned with love, clarity, and sovereignty. The chosen ones are being summoned to choose. To sit on the fence is no longer an option. The internal conflict you may be feeling is not confusion. It's a choice point. You are being asked to stop doubting your path, to stop silencing your truth, and to stop postponing your power. The forces that want you distracted will intensify. The voices that try to convince you that you're crazy or delusional will grow louder. That's how you know you're getting closer. The resistance increases just before the breakthrough. You may be wondering how you know you're one of the chosen ones. The answer is simple. If you've made it this far in the message and feel it in your body, your chest, your bones, then you are. This is not about pride or elitism. It is about responsibility. Being chosen does not mean you are above others. It means you have a sacred duty to serve the awakening of others, to live as an example of courage, love, and authenticity. It means you are here to hold light in dark places, to speak truth in deceptive spaces, and to choose integrity when it would be easier to follow the crowd. Your presence matters. Your choices ripple out far beyond what you can see. The work you are being called to do now may look different from anything you've done before. You might be asked to leave something behind, a job, a relationship, a belief system. You might be pulled into unexpected territory, new collaborations, creative expressions, spiritual practices. This is not the time to resist. Trust that the path is unfolding as it must. The universe will guide you, but only if you commit. The activation of your purpose is not something you think your way into. It happens when you decide. It begins the moment you stop waiting for external confirmation and start following internal truth. Every moment you delay, you reinforce the old world. Every moment you step forward, you build the new one. You are not alone in this. Though your path is unique, you are part of a much larger movement. All across the world, others like you are waking up, stepping out, and rising into their missions. Some are visible and vocal. Others work quietly in their communities, families, and inner circles. Together, you form a living grid of awakened consciousness, a network that strengthens with every decision to live authentically and courageously. This is the force that will shift humanity. Not a single leader or event, but a collective of ordinary people remembering their extraordinary purpose. You did not come here to follow a script. You came to write a new one. You came to embody a frequency that cannot be replicated or faked. You came to remind others that something far more beautiful and true is possible. And now that time has come. There will be no official announcement, no sirens, no confirmation from the systems you've been taught to trust. The only confirmation you need is the one you already feel. This is your moment. You've always known it. Now you must live it.